Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I'm the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided me that I can't say enough about. So I'd like to introduce them next. The first one is my faithful assistant, Faith, who has basically been my assistant since the day she was born. Her dad, when she was about 3 weeks old, her dad brought her to church and he would work the soundboard. So he'd have her in one hand and work the soundboard in the other hand. And then at some point, she learned how to crawl. So she crawled right up on the stage as if she belonged there. So we left her there. And I would just step over her as I was speaking because I used to have a portable mic. And so I would just walk around all the time. And so there she was, And so, then we put her on the podium when I would do announcements, and people would pay more attention because it was ooh, ooh, ga, 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 how it is with babies. And then when she got older, she and her sister became ushers, and they would hand out affirmation cards at the end. And her dad was a tow truck driver, and they lived like 6 blocks from my house. So when he would go on out of town tows, he would drop the girls at my house. And I'm a project person. There's always a project going on at my house. And so I got to see her work. So when she was like 14 and a half, she said, I want a real job now, because she was doing babysitting and nannying or whatever. And so I said, okay, come work for me at the Ozone Clinic. And so she did. And then when we went live during the pandemic, when we went live with this service, I said, do you want to be my ministerial assistant? And she said, yes. And so here we are. And so she is the lady behind the scenes, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. You pull back the curtain, you see Faith. Because I couldn't do this if I had to keep track of all the little things that go on behind the scenes. So that leaves me the ability to just focus on my speaking and not be focused on all the minor details that have to, major details, but whatever. And so we ask that you say hi, hello, good morning, however you like to greet us, because in a facility, I can look out and see the shining faces beaming back at me. Here, we don't even get names. We just get a number. So Faith is the one that answers as me, but she does such a great job that I think in 4 years, we've only had 2 instances where I had to answer a different question that didn't get answered. And so that's Faith. She is also our soloist. And today she's going to be doing Today I Choose by Karen Drucker. It's easy because it's right there. I really remember. Because our topic today is Today I Choose Happiness. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, Faith. I couldn't do this without you. Love you. And then there is my partner in crime, my first baby practitioner, meaning he took all of his training with me, except for like one class that he took at Mile High. But he was my board president for many, many years, and then moved away to Florida, and we lost the ability to have him in the service. So when we went live for the pandemic, of course, I made the phone call to him too. Are you willing? And he's like, yes. And so he is our practitioner of the day almost every single week. So we appreciate all of that. I couldn't do this without him either. Practitioner of the day means that he does the invocation, the benediction, and he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle. So thank you for being here, Oz. I love you. Okay. Let's see. There's a watch party button that you can click on and invite all of your friends so they can see what kind of service they can expect to receive on Sunday mornings. And you can talk amongst yourselves because it's a private chat situation. So it doesn't disturb anybody else. So it's a great way for them to get their questions answered if they have any questions about what it is that we teach. So I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace angels' wings, I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
The presence of God is everywhere and always, right here, right now. For God, as we conceive of it, is in all things, as all things, the summation of all things, and yet beyond. For it continues to create everything anew. It manifests every single factor in our lives and manifests from the subatomic to the intergalactic. And probably beyond too, because we have a frame of reference that is minuscule in comparison to what this one great being can see and be, for it is in all things. And knowing that this is so, I know that God's presence is right here, right now, in me and you, in all we see and all we do. And I know that there's a blessing that is infinite and potential in all moments. I allow that blessing to unfold right here, right now, and I let it be. And I give great thanks. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Oz. This next song is one that Reverend Fairy Lane Silver wrote while she was in practitioner training. And it's a great reminder to get stuck in your head, because it's a reminder of how connected we are. And the more connected we recognize that we are, the more we feel connected. So if you know the words, sing them loud and sing them proud, because you can't disturb anybody. And if you don't know the words, catch on, because it's a great song.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I receive, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
Lately, I've been forgetting to introduce our music team, who don't appear on camera. They are our adjunct team, which is Reverend Fairy Lane Silver. That was one of her songs, and Karen Drucker. We couldn't do music without them. So I'm so blessed to have, or we are so blessed to have them provide music for us. Every time we try to do contemporary music, they mute us. Either Facebook or YouTube mutes us, like we got muted for Mother's Day. Whatever. It's all good. But the thing is that we couldn't do this without them. So I always like to acknowledge them. And then, of course, Albertina Giuffre, known better as Tina, who will be here next week for our Father's Day celebration. Tina was our soloist for many years at church and needed to take a break. So Faith stepped in and became our soloist while she was on this break. But she comes back and sees us every now and then and sings for us. So like I said, say hi, hello, good morning if you're here. In a facility, I can look out and see who's here. I can't do that here. I don't even see names. I just see numbers. So say hi, hello, good morning, however you want to greet us. If you're stopping by later, please just drop a line and say hi. That way I know someone was here. All right. If you like something that you hear, whether that's something I say, or Oz prays, or Faith sings, use the like button. And if you love it, send us love. We love to get love. And if something strikes you as very powerful, by all means, use that wow button. It lets me know when I'm on track, because I that feedback really helps me to become a better speaker for you. All right. Without further ado, we're going to have Faith singing Today I Choose by Karen Drucker.
Thank you. What do I want my day to be? I choose. What do I want to feel today? I choose. What do I want to say today? I choose. I choose. I choose. I choose. Choose. Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, so grateful. Today I choose to be grateful, grateful. Today I choose to be happy, so happy. Today I choose to be happy, happy. Today I choose to be peaceful, so peaceful. Today I choose to be peaceful, peaceful. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. Today I choose to be loving, so loving. Today I choose to be loving, loving. Today I choose to be joyful, so joyful. Today I choose to be joyful, joyful. Today I choose. Today I choose. Today I choose. Today I choose. Whatever I choose is how my day's gonna be. I claim what I want, 'cause it's all up to me. It's all up to me today. I choose to be thankful, so thankful today. I choose to be thankful, thankful today. I choose to be grateful, so grateful today. I choose to be grateful, grateful, to be grateful, grateful, to be grateful, grateful. I am grateful, grateful.
I can't clap very loud because of the dog. I have a chihuahua on my lap. You can't see her. Thank you, Faith. So I chose this topic because it's the one I needed to hear the most. Today I choose happiness. The last year has been an incredibly difficult period in my life. I lost my sister February 21st of last year. I lost my husband February 21st of this year. So it's been 3 months that he's gone. I've lost 6 people altogether, 5 of them very significant people, just within the last probably 4 months, 5 months, something like that. And I found out that I may or may not need to close my ozone business. So it's just, it's compound grief is what we call it. And I know that it's important for us to remember that we choose happiness. Now, I'm not saying in the midst of my grief, I'm going, yee howdy, my sister's gone, or yee howdy, my husband's gone. That's not what I'm saying. There's a grief process, and it's important that we honor our feelings, whether that's anger or fear or grief or sadness or whatever else we're experiencing. Grief is a cycle. And so you go through all the emotions and you reach a point where acceptance is on that loop. And so I say, allow yourself to feel the feelings that you need to feel. When you get into the acceptance part of the cycle, that's a perfect opportunity to say, I choose happiness, and to start to work on that, because then the cycle repeats itself and then you come back to acceptance and you do some more work on that. The more you can choose happiness in every moment, the more happiness you will see, you will experience. So let me start out by saying there's like 3 things that are important to the process of choosing happiness. One is a mental equivalent. A mental equivalent is like the cup that holds all of your experience. So, for example, if you don't have an experience of wealth, for example, the Olsen twins are a perfect example of this mental equivalence thing. If you were to drop you and I off on a street somewhere with nothing, we would be helpless and hopeless and probably just delve into despair. If you took everything away from the Olsen twins and dropped them on the street, eventually they would become millionaires again, because that is their mental equivalent. And what does that have to do with happiness? Everything. Money isn't the thing. The thing is that if you have a cup that already understands what it's supposed to do, then you are able to recreate a situation. So, for example, happiness is a perfect example. Now, maybe when you were a kid, you got a toy and you experienced happiness in that moment. So you already have a mental equivalent for it. But we hide the mental equivalent from ourselves with all of the bad news on the TV, or all the situations that happen to us, or anything like that. And so what's important to note is that we already have that mental equivalence. We just need to activate that mental equivalence. The second part of that is understanding how powerful our mind is. For example, when we go to the movies, if we're going to say a love story exactly, or precisely, you feel the emotions as if you are experiencing that experience firsthand. Your body doesn't seem to know the difference between fact and fiction. And so you begin to cry. Or in an action movie, for example, you feel the stress hormones kick in. And it's because your body doesn't really understand the difference between fact and fiction. So the mind is very capable of creating whatever circumstance you want to experience. It's just that we have to activate that as well. And along with that comes the emotion, because we have something like 400 thoughts a minute. And it's a good thing that God planted a filter in us, because if I experienced the creation of every single thought at 400 thoughts a minute, it'd be like, I want this. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. The world would appear and disappear very rapidly, and we wouldn't be able to grasp any kind of a sense of permanency. And so it's a good thing that only the thoughts that are pervasive and that have an emotion behind them or powering them create. So along with the mental equivalence, we also have that powerful mind. And then the third piece of this is the God piece. Now, with God, for example, if I place my trust in people, we human doings will inevitably disappoint. Because I can't give you exactly what you need, and you can't give me exactly what I need. And so it's important for us to remember that our needs are met by our own self, right? And so we can't trust another person to provide that for us. We can't trust situations, because situations change. As in the, my landlord is basically wanting to sell the place. And so we're having to move in like 6 weeks. And so, and so those situations change so rapidly that, again, you wouldn't get a grasp on anything if you trusted situations. So where we place our trust is in God. So I'm going to talk about that first. God's answer is always yes. Okay. We need to remember that. Every time I say that statement, I remember that movie called Bruce Almighty. I don't know how many of you know that movie, but he is a reporter who seems to find trouble wherever he goes. Everything happens to him. And he starts saying things like, God never listens, God isn't around, God's not there. He's saying all those statements. So God agrees to meet up with him, or just pops into his life and says, okay, you be God for a day. I want you to experience what it's like to be me. And so all of a sudden he has this burst of energy, and he starts hearing all these voices of people asking for things, all the prayers. And there's so many trillions of people that he's hearing that he can't function. And so he builds this computer program that says, say yes to every request. And so he isn't bombarded with the thoughts anymore, but like everybody wins the lottery because, the answer is always yes, right? And so everybody wins the lottery, but they only win $1 each. And so they're not happy. But I think about that whenever I make the statement that God's answer is always yes. So if I'm focused on something negative, the answer is yes. If I'm focused on positive, the answer is yes. And so it's up to me to decide how I want to create with the help of God. So I place my trust in God providing that. We get our intention clear, right? I set my intention. It's like having a cookie cutter. And, we pour the dough in to the shape that it is, but God processes it and makes it into a cookie, you see. That's kind of what the way it works for us with God. Now, please understand, I don't believe in a God that will go, you I'm giving happiness to, but you I'm not. We don't believe in that kind of God. We don't believe in God as a personality that has preferences. We believe in a God that is a divine intelligence, meaning it knows how to create, right? And so all we need to do is furnish that source with an intention, and God does the creation for us, because the answer is always yes. Now, how we get to that place is by trusting, absolutely trusting in God. I had this friend in the School of Ministry who used to drive up from Colorado Springs to Lakewood 3 to 4 times a week. in the evening, of course. And she never wanted to stay in Denver. She always wanted to go back to Colorado Springs. And for those of you who don't live, it was like an hour and a half journey. But for those of you who don't live in a climate where ice and snow is an issue, let me share with you what it's like. Because you're sliding on ice before you even know it. And when you're sliding on the ice, it is natural, or it is human instinct to start going, oh my God, I'm going to crash. I'm going to die. I'm going to, And so that happened to her one night. And she was going back down to Colorado Springs. And she said she felt herself sliding. She saw those thoughts coming into her head. And she right away closed her eyes and said, God, 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 God. And when she opened her eyes, she was safely on the side of the road. There were no cars anywhere. And she said before she started to slide, there were cars everywhere. So I personally believe that her focus on God is what kept her safe, is what provided her a safe landing, so to speak. And so I try to remember that in the worst moments of my life where fear takes over, I try to remember that my focus on God is what will create a safe landing for me. And so I suggest you do the same. Not that I think it's a good idea to close your eyes when you're driving, but if you can focus on God, no matter what the situation is, I believe you will come out in a much better position. So when I say trusting in God, that's what I'm talking about. Because when we place our trust in God, all of the people, places, and things seem to rise up in a conspiracy to give us what we need and want, right? All right, so let me talk a little bit about the mental equivalent piece of this, because I need to increase my mental equivalent. I need to make sure that I am aware of the places where I have been happy so I can recall that. Remember, the mind is very powerful. So the mind doesn't know that that experience happened in the past. The mind only knows that right now, that experience of happiness is right here, right now. So I'm going to lead you through a couple of exercises really quick, just as a demonstration of that, okay? First, I want you to, now don't do this if you have any shoulder or arm issues, but I want you to put your arm back behind you like this and reach up as far as you can possibly go without creating pain. And when I look down for reference, I see that I'm about 2 inches off my armrest here. Okay, you can release that. So I'm going to run you through a quick little meditation that's going to show you the power of your mind. No, we don't need music. It's okay. She was away from the camera and then ran back because she thought I was talking about a major meditation. No, just a little itty bitty one. And so I'm going to have you close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in from your belly through your nose. Breathe it in. Hold it. And release out through the mouth. Now what we're doing is we're relaxing the body. So we're going to take in another nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold it. And release out through the mouth. And we're going to do one last really deep, really intense breath all the way from the tip of your toes on up. So take that breath in through the nose, hold it, and forcefully release it out the mouth. I want you to notice as you're sitting there how the tension is leaving your body. And how safe it feels to move your body. I want you to think about how safe it is for your arm to actually go up higher than it was. I want your body to respond to the stimuli in providing an experience of being relaxed and supple and flexible. So with your eyes still closed, I want you to reach back behind and I want you to put your arm up as far as you can go without creating pain. And now quickly look back, open your eyes, look back, and then close your eyes again. But I want you to notice how much further up your arm is. Now I'm up about three more inches than I was. All right, close your eyes back again, and I want you to focus in on your breath again and just sort of be in that breath for a moment. And now I want you to recall, at some point in your life, you have had one moment of happiness. It doesn't have to be a big thing, even a little thing like a new toy as a kid, or perhaps it was going to the beach, or perhaps it was a moment of happiness when you had a good experience with a loved one, or perhaps it was when you got your first puppy, or perhaps it was just sitting in a quiet space where happiness flowed. I want you to just remember that moment for you. And in that remembering, I want you to pull from the head down into the heart and experience that happiness on a feeling level. Just let yourself fully experience that happiness. All right, I'm going to have you wiggle your fingers and toes. Open your eyes and bring your consciousness back into the room. Know that you can do this at any time. That's the mental equivalent piece of it, because you already know what happiness is. We always think that happiness has to be this big thing, jumping up and down for joy. That's not what it is. Your happy is not the same as my happy, by the way. My happy place is the beach, to put it very bluntly. Lynn bought me these VR goggles so that I could experience a day at the beach. But unfortunately, the videos have not caught up with the kind of experience I want. The experience that they have now is, a beach with all these people and birds coming and looking at the camera and, that kind of thing. When what I wanted was to be alone on a beach, sitting in the sun, just listening to the waves lapping, because that's my happy place. Another one of my happy places is sitting on my porch with listening to the birds and watching the flowers grow and listening to the rustling of the leaves on the trees. For me, that's a happy place. Another happy place is my home. It's my sanctuary. I am really aware of other people's energy. So when someone comes into my house, I have to do some processing when they leave so that the energy is still mine and not theirs, because that's my sanctuary. At one point I had 7 people living in my house, including me, and that will never happen again. It was okay at the time, but it will never happen again because there was no place for me to have a sanctuary, because the sanctuary is in here, but the surroundings help you achieve that place of sanctuary. So my perfect happy place is not your perfect happy place. Some people really love going up into the mountains. I'm just not a mountain girl. We used to have a cabin up in the mountains, and my nieces ended up purchasing it from the family because that's their happy place. And it's perfect for them. And that's what I want to make sure that we are all aware of is my perfect happy is not going to be your perfect happy. And it's okay to invite other people into your perfect happy, but they may not experience it exactly the same way because it's not their perfect happy. And so this week, I'm going to ask you to do that little meditation at least 4 or 5 minutes every day. Now, I know the monkey mind is going to start in, I didn't get this done, I need to do that. Just put those aside and focus your attention on that happy moment, right? That's all you need to do is just focus on that, drop it from the head into the heart where you're actually experiencing the feelings of it, because that's what's going to set you up for creation of a happy life, right? Our mind is very, very powerful. And so we're tapping into that mental equivalence and we're tying it to an emotion, because emotion is what fuels our thoughts. And if we are going to be creative, we have to have a strong emotion that allows us to elicit that feeling so that we can be in that perfect moment of happiness. So if you'll do that with me for 5 minutes every day this week, I know that you'll be able to turn your life around. And again, I want to stress that if you're angry, sad, grieving, if you're having if you're in fear, any of those emotions, that is not, that's not the best time to do this happiness work, because we're not Pollyanna. We're not, denying that there's an experience of an emotion. What we're doing is we're waiting for the cycle to reach that acceptance place. And when the acceptance place is there, that's the perfect time to say, I choose happiness. I choose happiness. I choose happiness. And you keep repeating that over to yourself when you start to feel stressed, because it's all about hormones. Okay. Let me just clarify that. It's all about the hormones. When we're having a happy experience and we're feeling that happiness, the dopamine and serotonin levels go way, way up. And when we're like watching an action movie, which I'm not a big fan of, but the stress hormones kick in. And so you have cortisol and you have all this stress going on. And so all the time this is going on, your brain is being affected by all of these hormones, right? And so when we are creating that moment of happiness, we are elevating our serotonin and dopamine levels. And that's what we want to do. We want to stay in that as much as we possibly can. Those are called the happiness hormones. And the reason for that is because they actually create a change in our body as well as in our mind. So that's what I want you to focus on this week, is to do the meditation so that you have those hormones in operation. And, I'm not going to tell you to avoid the TV or avoid action movies or anything like that, but just be aware how that happens in your body, how the fear and flight takes over. And that's because you have cortisol levels rising. And so being aware of that, you know that you can always change that into something else. So honor your feelings, whatever they are. When you reach the acceptance part of the cycle, begin to affirm, I choose happiness, because it is a choice. I know that sounds really weird, but it is a choice. I can choose to be happy. I can choose to be sad. There's no one on the earth that can make me happy or make me sad. And that's something that we all need to remember. I run into this a lot in counseling, where someone will say to the other person, you made me so mad. Well, the truth is they didn't make you mad. They did something that upset you and you got mad. And they don't have the power to make you mad. They don't have the power to make you happy. They don't have the power to make you sad. They only have the power to control their own emotions and their own attitude and their own consciousness. So let me just talk about control real quickly before we go. Control is an illusion. Let me put it this way. There are billions and billions of people on this planet who all contribute to the consciousness of the world, okay? So my thinking that I have any control whatsoever in this world is just an illusion, because I would have to be able to control billions and billions of people in order to control my experience totally. The experience I can control is how I react to the situations that occur. That's where I have power and control. That's the only thing I have control over. And so when the events of the world encroach on my little happy place, I remember that I'm not in control of all of that. What I am in control of is what my response to that stimuli is. And in doing so, I can choose happiness in that moment. And when I choose happiness, I kick in those hormones that allow me to feel happy. And in that happiness, I am creating, I'm elevating my mental equivalent, basically. And I'm elevating my feelings to the point where I'm creating a world of happiness for myself. It's all in your hands. And that's a really important piece of all of this. So this week, I want you to work on your mental equivalent and feeling the feelings of that happiness. I want you to affirm that you choose happiness, knowing that your mind is much more powerful than any situation you are in. Letting go of control is a big one. But most of all, trusting in God and keeping your focus on the God in you. It flows through you so perfectly. And there is no place where God is not. And so because of that, if you trust in that, if you keep your focus on that, then nothing in this world can come in and infiltrate your happiness, right? Let's choose happiness this week. Let's have a prayer. So right now, I just turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God. To that place within me that knows beyond human understanding just how powerful God is. Just how amazing God is, how beautiful. For God is love, life, beauty, joy, and happiness. Life is all of these things. As I revel in this perfection, in this beauty and all-consuming essence of God, I know that that is where I find myself, in the midst of God. My very essence, my very life, my very being. It is who and what I am. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages that flows through me as it flows through all creation. I know that same power, that same flow of God is in and through every team member that God has provided for this experience. For Tina and Karen and Elaine and Faith and Oz. For we are one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of God. And it flows through us equally as it flows through all of life. Perfectly. And so every thought, every action, every deed that is done by any member of this team is done so and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages. I know the same truth to be so for every person who is here today, whether that's real time or later on. Because I do know that we are connected by it through it. There is no place where one leaves off and the other begins. We are one. Matakuyas and all my brethren, we are connected. So I bless this coming week with experiences of first momentarily happiness and then greater and greater experiences of happiness as we do our spiritual practice for happiness. As I affirm, I choose happiness, my body and my mind respond in like kind and create a world where happiness is the norm, where happiness is the experience that takes over. I know as I do the meditations to increase my mental equivalent or to reactivate my mental equivalent, that happiness as a feeling just takes over until that is the only experience I'm having. And the moment anything threatens to infiltrate that, my trust in God and my focus on God and my meditations of happiness and my affirmations of happiness just take over until that threat just goes away, dissolves back into the nothingness from which it came. So I know for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, that same experience of God, that same experience of happiness, that no matter what circumstance they are experiencing, God is the answer. God is that which flows through and creates a happier experience. They have placed their intent into the law, and the law provides that experience. Right here, right now. So I pull back the veil and reveal this truth as I claim it in their name as good and very good and done. And so I give great thanks. My heart fills with gratitude to know that this is so, to be of service in this way. And I just let it be. And so it is. Oh, goodness.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirits on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world.
Sorry, trying to turn on my fan here. There we go. Took me a minute. Thank you so much, Faith. Right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to experience gratitude for that which you have already received in the spiritual or in the physical realm, or perhaps it's something that you have created in the mind of God and have not yet seen in the physical realm. So now is the opportunity to express that gratitude in your giving. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, I'll have you say this offering affirmation with me. And then underneath that is a Contribute Now button. So I want to talk real briefly about what Contribute Now means, or what your contribution means. And that is when we're in a facility, there are rents and utilities and those kinds of expenses that we don't have here because we're not in a facility. What we do have is a marketing cost, because we have a vision of a healed world, and I mean globally. We already have people that join us from the UK or England, the Netherlands or Holland, Germany, Philippines, and India. We'd like that to be a global healing. And so our vision is a healed world. And our mission to get there is by healing the world one person at a time. Now, it takes marketing to do that, obviously. And so what you're contributing to is our vision via our mission. So please go with me now, whether that's in real time or later on, to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, please say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. And so hit that Contribute Now button and help us with our mission to reach our vision. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast who serve our church as the healing arm of the church. And they serve in 3 different ways. The first is that If you would like prayer for something, you can put it in the comments section, and Faith will make sure our God Squad, which is what we call our practitioners, our licensed practitioners. I love that imagery, marching in, taking charge. But she will make sure our God Squad gets those prayer requests, and they will pray on those every day for a week. The second way that our licensed practitioners serve the church is by providing spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. So you would reach out to our practitioners, probably best way is Facebook Messenger. Reach out to a practitioner and say, I would like a session for spiritual guidance, and they will let you know how to pay for it. I personally don't get involved in any of that. They have their own businesses, so I don't even sway them one way or the other. Some people use Wise, some people use PayPal, some people use Cash App, some Venmo, and some Zelle. I just don't get involved in any of that. So they will let you know how to pay for that, and then they will get a hold of you at your appointed time through video chat, through Facebook. So take advantage of this loving service they provide, because it is very powerful to work with a practitioner. And then the third way is by being practitioner of the day, which is what Oz does almost every single Sunday. And that means that he does the invocation at the beginning, the benediction at the end, and then he's available at the end for our 1-minute miracle, which is not a time for counseling, but it is a time where you can let him know what you're experiencing, and he will stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And I think today, he's going to Pride. So Pride Fest. So, I think that's probably going to be me today. So, definitely reach out to me if you would like me to pray with you real quick. You can do that through video chat. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. And if I don't answer right away, it usually means I'm on with someone else. So there you go. All right. Let me think here. We got, what did I always do this. Oh, I remember Brooks and Bailey. So Brooks and Bailey is a couple of women who have created this jewelry line, and the proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is a very worthy cause. And you can reach them through brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com or through their Facebook page, which when they post an event that they're going to have a booth at, I usually try to share that so that people know to find them. They have a whole jewelry line, but they also have mallow beads in necklace form and in bracelet form. This mallow bead necklace has 108 beads, which the Hindus and the Buddhists use to do their chant. So you push one bead at a time, or move one bead at a time, and do your chant every time you move a bead. And the reason that's significant for us is because I say, do your affirmations 100 times a day. Well, if you're doing 108 affirmations, that's a good way to do it. The bracelet has 54, and so you would use the bracelet twice. But this is amethyst. It's $60. They have all kinds of gemstones, and they're like $30 and up. And I think the bracelets are like $20 to $25. So anyway, oh my goodness. So definitely check out these ladies. They have a great service that they provide. And then Angel Renee has an Etsy store that has intention candles and intention tea bags. The tea bags go into your bath water. They're made with aromatic herbs, so they help you focus on your intention, which is a really important piece of this whole mental equivalent, right? And part of the creative process as well. So definitely check that out. Then go to Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's website, which is listed on the screen there. She has a website that she's had for years and years and years, and somehow or other she can't change it to show how to pay for things. So go on there and figure out which CD you would like to purchase. And I don't even know which CD that one comes off of that we sing every week. We Are All One. I'm not even sure. But she does have a list of the songs that are on each CD. Anyway, she travels around the country singing and always has the CDs in the trunk of her car. So you get a hold of her through email. She tells you how to pay, and then she usually sends it out like the very next day. I've never had her be delayed at all with any of that. And I order from her quite frequently. And then Elaine Silver's website does work. Karen Drucker's website does work for payment. So you can, on her website, you can buy it by the CD, by the song, a karaoke file, a songbook, which sometimes includes American Sign Language. And her website does work, so you can actually pay for it there. So check out her website. We like to support those who support us. So Father's Day is coming up. Karen Drucker has some really awesome stuff on her website for Father's Day, as does Fairy Lane Silver. So definitely be thinking of it in terms of that for Father's Day. Yes, dear.
This week's song was from Joy in Our Hearts from Karen.
Oh, yeah, that's Karen Drucker. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. If you like that song, Today I Choose, definitely pick up a copy of that CD. Let's see, what else do I need to say? I think that's, oh yeah, our website, duh. Our website is, thank God she puts it up on the screen, because I get like, I don't know. www.oasiscsl.org. There you're going to find video sermons, audio sermons, pictures of picnics and events that we've had at our church when we had a facility. And it's a great way to get to know who your spiritual community is, your spiritual family. So we know that the website has not been updated in quite a while. I've been just a little bit distracted with all the passings of everyone. And so we haven't gotten to it, but I promise you we are doing that. In the meantime, you can always find us on YouTube for the video sermons and SoundCloud for the audio sermons for the previous years leading up to the pandemic. And it's all under S. Tucker. So definitely check that out. But do come back and look at our website to see what changes we are making. Okay, Oz, I'm turning it over to you.
And I know that right here, right now, that God's presence manifests throughout the week. No matter where you are and when you are, God's presence is right there in full force. And I allow the blessings that flow from that to manifest in each and every life. And I know it is good and very good. And for that, I give thanks and I let it be. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning, and we're glad you were here with us today. I hope that the service uplifted and inspired you, because that was our intention. Not only did I need to hear that, but I'm hoping that there are other people out in the world that needed to hear that message today. Next week is Father's Day. Please join us. Again, Tina will be here. Faith will be singing as well. We hope that we will create a very loving ceremony that will uplift and inspire you as well. So join us next week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time, as every week, as we celebrate our fathers and those that that are father figures in our life. So definitely be here next week. Thank you to the team. I couldn't do this without you. Thank you. Bye for now. Stay safe.